Okay, awesome. So another episode of the Hiring Room. I'm super excited. I have Hunter Scott with me today. Hunter you're actually one of the partners at the firm, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Yes. And you are currently doing some work at StrataCloud.
Yep.
So Hunter and I met on LinkedIn. The power of LinkedIn. It can be sometimes it can be sort of like a random reason that people are just meeting each other. So great to have you here. And super excited because I love to have fellow entrepreneurs on here. And what I think is really interesting with what you're building. So you're building, tell us a little bit about what StrataCloud's doing.
Yeah, we're super excited. We do three things for companies. So we can sit in as the accounting department for a small business. What that means, that could mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. Very simply, we do the bookkeeping, we produce financial statements. Yep. We'll sit down with that owner, explain those financial statements. From there, we can sit in as the part-time CFO. So this is for a company where the CFO position is not a full-time job yet, but they still need the strategic leader sitting in the CFO seat that is not the owner, so that they can help plan out their finances, help have some foresight into the numbers. And then the third thing we do, this is our kind of new and exciting thing that we launched last year, is our coaching program. So
that's right. We talked about that a little bit. Tell us a little more about the coaching program, which I think is pretty unique.
Yeah, no, I have not run into too many other finance people doing it, but we have launched a group mastermind style format that meets twice a week with people who are full-time in either the controller or VP of finance role. And we are training them to think more like the CFO. So the leadership that comes with that, the different deliverables that come with that, we're helping them get to that point in their career where they can sit in as the CFO at the company that they're at. And so we have it, we meet twice a week. The first day of the week, we'll do a kind of teaching of some sort of topic. Maybe we'll have a guest in that goes over something. This could range from leadership all the way to how to build a forecast.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
Then the second one is a Q&A session. Okay. So the participants can bring whatever opportunity challenge that they're working through for us to work through together as a group. Nice. And then we also will meet with the participants one-on-one once a month to help them prepare for what we call the ownership call, where they're going to sit down with the board of directors, the owner of the company, and they're going to go through financials.
I think that's great because I hear this a lot where, there's no one to develop and mentor them in a small business because the owner can't do it.
Yep.
So then you have somebody who's really good. Maybe you just needed a senior accountant and then they're developing up. You don't want to lose them. And then you get some mentoring and development. And I think that's a really good plan. So I hope it's successful for you because I can see it being, very value added to a smaller company for sure.
Yeah. Oh, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great learning experience for us too. It's produced all types of, it's the first time we had to sit down and really think through our own services of, okay, how do I teach this to somebody else and actually articulate it? So it's done everything from made us better internally to helping somebody else get better as well, which is the fun part,
which is the whole point. So interesting. So when you reached out and you said, hey Renee, I think I have some values out of the hiring room, I researched your background. I thought was super interesting is that I kind of want to go through your journey of how you ended up at Strata because this is a compliment to you. It's not like you're sitting on 20 years experience. You're pretty young. You made the leap to entrepreneurship pretty young, straight out of, you were in public accounting for a couple of years, right? So you get the whole public accounting under your belt. And then I believe you did like a short pit stop at San Filippo.
Yep.
Old company, right? Kind of an older type of the nut
company.
They've
been generational type company. Yep.
Are they still probably health generation? Like, are they still like?
I think they're a publicly traded company, they're pretty large. I was only there for a short time, so I don't know all the ins and outs, but no, they're a pretty large company, publicly traded. And I believe, at least when I worked there, the family that owned it and started it was largely still running it. And those C-suite positions.
That's interesting.
Yeah. No, it was a cool dynamic.
Yeah. I met someone. We worked with them a long time ago. I swear to God, we've worked with everybody at some point. And I kind of remember the guy that was there. We're doing something with him. This is like probably 20 years ago. But then how did you get to Scale Factor? Like what? Because you're at
Yeah.
you're at John for a really short time. I'm not gonna say the last name. I'm gonna just say John S. And then you went to
Yeah.
Scale Factor, and that looks like it was kind of like a crazy time because there was a startup,
Yeah,
right?
it was. No, they were a tech startup. They raised millions of dollars from, venture capitalists all over the world, some pretty big names too. And the whole goal was, some pretty huge backing. And the whole goal was they were going to automate accounting. So small business needs their book done. They were gonna put the flow together, the software together in order to do that. And
okay, so wait, time out for a second. Back up on that.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by automate? Let's talk about automation on this. Like in what level of automation are we talking about?
I think the vision would have been company goes online. They know they need their bookkeeping done. They can kind of plug in their accounts into the software.
Okay.
And it just magically does it. I don't know how to explain the software part, but yeah.
Meaning you look like you connect it to your bank account. It loads everything in. It reconciles itself. It creates the journal entries itself. It puts everything together. It does the whole thing, right? It sounds like a concept. How much money did they raise? Can you say? I think
it's probably public. They raised $100 million in just a couple of years. No, it is not. And that's why it was such an attractive idea. And it still is. There's companies out there trying to do it still.
And how early on did they raise that? What series were they at?
Yeah, good question. It's been a few years now. When I joined, I think a couple weeks after I joined, they completed maybe Series B, if I recall correctly.
And they raised that kind of money by Series B? Holy crap.
They raised the full amount by Series C, I believe.
Yeah, but that's still a lot of money. That's a significant amount of money. So when you started there, was there revenue yet? Was the development done?
Yeah, no, I was employee, I think number 70. So I wasn't, the first person there, but no, they absolutely had revenue coming in.
Yeah.
And they were bringing in many accounting style clients, and they had an engineer team that was, fastly working on how to develop automation behind the things that us accountants were doing.
So what happened? How did it fall apart?
Yeah, good question. Ultimately, I think what it came to is we were ahead of our time with the capabilities.
Right? Timing's everything, right?
Yeah. I think it was idea that was maybe, who knows how much time, but maybe a decade before its time with the capabilities of AI and machine learning. And so the progress on the automation side, and, this is my best guess as to what happened, is it was going to be a long road to get where it needed to go. And so I think the ideas were amazing. I think we were just a little bit ahead of our time. To be able to execute on everything.
So were you losing the clients? You couldn't get the clients what they needed? Was there too many glitches? Was there too many issues? Is that kind of what happened a little bit?
A little bit, yep. No, I think the big learning experience for me was the purely automation wasn't going to solve everything that the small business owner needed.
Yeah.
That was really what I think we discovered is even the things that were working well wasn't maybe solving the use case that the client needed it to. They needed that automation combined with that human touch of guidance.
Because they don't know if it's wrong.
Right. That's a huge reason why we did the coaching program too, is the owners don't know how to evaluate what good looks like.
No.
In a finance side. And so they're looking at the automation. It looks cool. The graphs are awesome. The numbers look good, or maybe they don't, depending on the company, if they're doing well or not. But they don't know, what do I do with that?
Yeah.
Where do I take that from here?
What do you see now? So you were in the startup, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like you said there, what years was that? What years were you there?
I was there from at the end of 2018 to maybe about mid 2020.
All right. So it wasn't that long ago, but it was still 5 years ago or so, right? 5-6 years ago. A lot's changed.
5-6 years.
In the seat that you're in now, how do you see this type of software with the advancement of AI? How do you see it changing what you provide a client? Do you see it impacting it quickly, or what do you think? I don't even know it's out there right now. Or have you been investigating some of the technology that's out there for this? I'm sure you have been, but what do you see? Oh
yeah. We're always trying to keep a close eye on it to understand what the possibilities are out there. I think our industry will be affected. over the next decade. Exactly the timing, anything like that, it's hard to say. But we're going to become an industry that's far less about creating the spreadsheet and far more about giving the guidance.
Yeah, much more about
it's already kind of what it should be, but that's really where it's going to head.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying that kind of in general around any jobs that's being, impacted by AI like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the automation's been there for a long time, right? I mean,
yeah,
there's been a lot of automation for a long time with, maybe a little bit more hitting a little bit more human intervention with downloads and automatic reconciliations and the Concur system. Like Concur, they do T&E or is that like Makerex? Can't remember. But you've had some of this. You've had some of these, BI tools that will sit on top and pull the data. So like we've had this. It's not like it hasn't existed, but it seems like it's connecting it a little bit easier in some ways. The whole flow. AI seems to be going to be able to connect the flow a little bit better than what we see. And it'll be interesting to see. I mean, it's finance, right? So you've got to have oversight. I mean,
yes, you have to make sure that it's doing it correctly. And
what I wonder with this, if you think about it, if I think about things like this, like, okay, let me think about this. Being a CPA myself, so I'm a lot older than you, so we won't talk about the age difference. But when I was a kid, and you would go to the store to hand someone $1, say something was 80 cents, and you had someone $1, the way you would count is you would count up. You say 80 cents, 80 cents, a dime's 90, a dime's $1. That's how you like give change back. If you went to a store now and you asked a kid to do that, he probably wouldn't be able to do it. If it was like, if something was $1.67 and they gave you $2, they wouldn't be able to understand 3 cents gets you to 70, 70 to 10 gets you 30, you give them 33 cents back. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Oh yeah.
Right. They'd probably have a hard time doing that if you're sitting at a cashier than it was years ago. But we were able to do it because we didn't have anything automatic to tell us what the change was back, right? So you had to understand like the concepts of, I guess, basic concepts of math or whatever you want to talk about. Do you see this when you're thinking about this? Now, you've done the foundational accounting yourself, right? Like you were in public accounting, you were sat in probably in, I don't know, were you an auditor or staff accountant? What'd you do? Were you an auditor?
So I actually got to do everything. The firm that I worked at, they trained you across disciplines.
So you know how to do a journal entry. You know how a debit and credit works. You know how it flows through a financial statement, how it flows through an income statement versus a balance. Like all that, right?
Yeah.
And you're CPA too, right? You took the exam? Yeah. So you understand the rules, right? And so if you understand the rules, then you can problem solve. You can understand, if you understand the rules, then you can problem solve the output. So how do you think this is going to be when the output's with you and you never really had to figure out you didn't have to figure out the inputs to get the outputs. You didn't understand the rules and you're sitting with the numbers and it's not you sitting there with the years of experience you have knowing how it works. How do you think what do you think the risk is with the generation coming up behind you not knowing how to put it together?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. We're going to have to learn we're going to have to teach differently is what we're going to have to do.
Teach differently, right? I remember making a journal entry at Dean Witter and you're like, okay, they had where you had the reversal entries, reversal entries would come out. So you had like, it would automatically reverse. So when they come in, all that kind of stuff, you're doing the accrual and you're like, oh shoot, I have to increase this account. I have to decrease this account. Oh, it reversed back out of the account. So now it didn't hit. So now I've got to double it, the whole thing, right? They're not going through that. They probably won't ever go through that gyration. They may not even go through that right now. For all I know, it's probably automated in some other way. But we're going to have to teach differently. I think it's going to affect a lot of different things when you don't really understand how the numbers were really, you may understand it theoretically, but I think it's going to be more difficult to problem solve when you get down, if you have to dig deep, it may be a little bit more difficult for them to problem solve. I don't know. Yeah,
it will be interesting for sure. We're going to, like I said, we're going to have to figure out a way to teach differently because, I mean, I'm probably, on the younger generation that still got the experience of doing what you just described at some level. And it's very, I then can think through critically, okay, what does this mean? You do this, what happens here? And they're not going to be able to do that.
You know how to fix it.
Or you know how to fix it. And so it's going to probably have to look like maybe some sort of interaction with like an AI bot of talking through it, I imagine.
Maybe you're right. Hopefully the rules
it's really hard to say.
Yeah. Because you have to make sure that
it's really hard to say.
Yeah. The input's got to be correct to get the output, right? I mean, you see that in chat all the time. Chat gives me wrong answers all the time.
Yeah.
Like
No,
constantly.
you're still for sure going to need to know. You're going to, yeah, you're going to need to know how to think through it critically because
Yeah.
it does give you
Yeah.
wrong answers and
So
and you can't just
yeah,
go
so
with
it'll
it.
be interesting. So let's going back to Scale Factor real quickly. So you're in a startup, everything went down. Were you there when things were going south, or were you already gone?
I was there when things were starting to change quite a bit. There was a period where they actually moved me to a sales position, which was the first time I had ever been in anything sales.
I saw that. I was like, how did that happen? Because
Yeah.
they're trying to retain people and they had to move people around. Is that what they were trying to do?
I think the hope was if we got a few accountants in those sales roles, we could help scope it a little bit more into a funnel that could be automated. And so that's what we were attempting to do. And so
Got
we ended
it.
up, moving into sales, some of me and my colleagues to do that. And so that was a wild experience to go from accountant who
You
has
weren't
never
doing
done
cold
anything
call sales.
sales.
Weren't you going on the sales calls with the salespeople?
No, we were doing the cold calling.
You're kidding me.
Yep. No, we
Well, it
were
got you ready
doing
for
the.
this job, didn't it?
It did. No, well, that's what happened. I sold one deal and I was like, oh my goodness, that actually wasn't as bad as I
Oh,
thought.
you got the dopamine rush on the deal, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so, so that's what I had already gone there with the idea of I would eventually like to start a firm. And I think having a startup experience might
Okay, so this was
propel
part
me
of your
into
master
that.
plan.
So it was kind of part of the master plan, and doing that one sale just kind of got me going. It was like, I feel like
Interesting.
I can do this.
I love that. I love that. So, how is the environment with the people, right? So, that's always I find interesting. Like a startup has a different feel anyway. Certain people are attracted to it, so certain people aren't. How did you see that? The emotion and the dynamic of that with the people that were being affected by it. What did you observe? Because that's a good learning tool for observation too when you're starting your own company, like how to handle communication and how people felt, and what did you learn from that experience?
Yeah. I mean, the experience was incredibly valuable to what we do now. I would say, first off, I have nothing but high things to say about all the people at Scale Factor.
I bet. Yeah.
I mean, they still, I think to this day, have, alumni type gatherings.
Oh yeah,
It's
a
it just
different
becomes a
feeling in a
family.
startup. Yeah, you're like all for
Yeah.
one and one for all. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was just a blast, to get to be a part of that. And there were so many amazing people involved in it. And I think so many companies after they shut down got blessed with all the talent that
How
came out of
nice.
there,
Yeah.
because it was like, getting a PhD almost, it felt like, in
Well,
such a
things just
short amount of time.
they move fast,
know.
right? That's the value of being in
Oh
a
yeah.
startup. Like you really learn fast of how things work.
Yep.
So that
Yeah.
had to have been invaluable. But is there any one lesson you took away that you think about that maybe you bring to Strata? Any big aha moment that you're like, wow, this is something I need to really digest?
Yeah. I would probably hit on, in terms of biggest lesson, just how important vision is for your company.
Mm,
It was always a common conversation of, are we pursuing software or service? And what are kind of the goals that we're after, right? And so it was a huge lesson just of how vision can impact every element of the business, whether it's
yeah.
aligned or whether it's misaligned,
Yeah.
how it can work. And so I would say, if I had to narrow it down to what was the most impactful one lesson, it was being able to see the impact of when we had good vision, maybe when the vision was misaligned, specifically between departments,
Mhm.
or when different departments misunderstood the vision, the power also of when we were all aligned, which there was many times that was taking place as well. And so
Yeah.
just the importance of that vision for the company and how that just propels where you go.
Did you see where things were going off the rails a little bit? Or was there a misalignment between the founders and the PE funding? I mean, that's sometimes one of the bigger issues, but it sounds like maybe they weren't quite developed to go to market or something. I don't know. And not that that's an important, I just kind of want to talk more about the people side of it, because
Yeah.
when people put their heart and soul into a startup, it's heartbreaking for people when this happens, right? Like you're emotionally invested, you're financially invested, it's your job.
Yeah.
It's like a rite of passage in a weird way. It's like being in a fraternity or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely felt like that.
Yeah, and it's powerful when everyone's rowing in the same direction. You talk to people who have successful startups, and they talk a lot like it was special, and the people were magical, and we hired really well. And I don't really know what happened. A lot of times, I think with these startups, I was talking to somebody who was in a really successful startup, and she's like, you hire people at first.
Right.
She's like, I know that sounds like the first wave are people that in your network. That's kind of who you hire. And then hiring becomes more difficult as you move downstream because it's not people anymore, and you have to kind of change that strategy a little bit. But I think maybe that's where some of that people feel like they're almost like in a fraternity because maybe some of the relationships are already strong before they even begin or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I forget the exact question, but the relationships were like that. And my two partners, we were all at Scale Factor.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, see, there's a story in itself. So you guys met there.
We all met there, and many of our first employees worked there. And so, it was very much a tight-knit community.
Yeah, so this experience did have a lot of impact on you then. I mean, it built your next business.
It did. Absolutely. Everything. I mean, we still, even people we hire today are, we still have people from Scale Factor reaching out. If we post that, hey, we're hiring, or, some sort of announcement, we'll have people reach out from Scale Factor. Awesome. And they're always our first consideration.
Oh, of course, you know them. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, you know them. You went through, this crazy growth together, this fun experience together. So it's a lot of times like getting the gang back together is what it's like.
So you guys went and did this. Hey, why fractional work? What made you guys go down that as a service? You see it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
you do see it a lot. Yeah.
With the aging population, I can't tell you how many of my CFO friends are now just, purely fractional. That's what they do. They do project-based CFO work, even controller work. And then because I think that social media and to communicate, especially on LinkedIn, is easier. They're able to go in on their own to the companies as opposed to, back in the day, they used to have to go through firms like ours a lot more, or just firms like yours in general. But you're seeing it. Do you see that as some different kind of competition for you? Aging population, freelance people, they're good. I mean, they're very experienced CFOs, the people that you probably hire. Do you see that? Like, what's your edge on that?
Yeah, good question. I mean, competition. Competition. Yeah, it's not really pricing. Competition landscape is pretty much how you described. You have the population of kind of semi-retired.
Yeah.
Decades of experience, super smart and impactful people. Fractional CFO. There's the lane like ours where there's other firms out there who are trying to create a scalable service. And help many different. And then there's still those tech companies out there that are, trying to automate the whole process.
Sell against you.
That still exists as well. And so those are really the line. I mean, where we see ourselves is we're kind of the marriage between the two of the experience, the ability to come in and like you said, troubleshoot and talk through things and help plan, right? And also marrying, okay, how can we like do this in an efficient way, in a modern way, in a way that does that. And so that's really where we sit in, amongst the competition, what we're trying to do. And we're definitely
done well. I mean, you've grown quite a bit, you told me. So that's fantastic.
Yes.
So whatever you're doing is working.
Yeah, no, it really has been. It's been really fun to see just how many, last year, I think we nearly doubled in revenue and in team size.
Wow.
And so, it's been fun to see how we get, how many clients we get to impact and the stories that come out of, conversations that we're having with clients. And
for sure.
So it's really fun to see it grow.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Have you tried to do some testimonial videos?
Nobody's super excited about doing the videos. We've done the text, but
do you know the best way to do it? Because I've got 6 of them now, and these are people that I've known for a really long time, right? And so there was a software called Testimonial. You send the link and they do it. They never do it.
Yep. So that.
Yep. And they never do it. They never log on. So what I do is I do this. I invite them. They invite them to Riverside. Okay. And then I invite them to Riverside, and then you manage it and you tape it, and then it's done. So basically what I do is I take myself off camera, and then I kind of just say, look, like, just talk from your heart. Like, talk about like why you worked with me, like why you do things. And they usually can rip it off in 1 second. One of my testimonials with Becky Norris from North Star Aerospace, I don't know if you saw that one or not. That thing went crazy. I boosted it, and I can't tell you how much activity I got from that. I got this really this founder that did an exit, and he wanted to talk with me, and he was I don't even know why he was talking to me. The exit he did was millions. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to help you, because he's like, that testimony was so impressive of how that person felt about you. I just had to talk to you. So it does have a lot of impact, especially with what you do, right?
Yeah.
So you should try to collect those with some of your really good clients. If you kind of walk them through it, it's just a lot easier for them. They just show up like this, and you're managing. And you could do it on Riverside too. I wouldn't do it on Zoom. I would do it on a platform like this, because this platform, you can edit it. And also it optimizes voice. It optimizes things for you. And so it's got some tools in there that you wouldn't have like on a Zoom or something like that. And it's not that expensive. Right. This isn't that expensive to do. So, but I think those testimonial videos are really powerful.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely take that advice.
The whole testimonial thing, it bombed on me if I let it to their vices. Even really, really good friends of mine were like, "Oh yeah, I'll get to it. Yeah, I'll get to it." I'm like, "How about you? How about we have a coffee meet online, and then you do it?" And they're like, "Yeah," and that's how I collected them.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That's kind of like sidebar there, but
yeah.
Anyway, so are you happy with what you're doing? Like, do you feel like this is where you want to be?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. That's always an important question, right?
It is an important question. Because having partners isn't easy sometimes. So, there's a lot for relationships. You have to build them. You have to maintain them. There's just a lot to it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. One, I feel absolutely blessed to have the partners that I do. We work amazing together. We all approach it from a slightly different angle and thought process. And so, and as well as, remaining very respectful of each other. And so, I love it from that standpoint. I don't know that I'd want to do it by myself. I don't know how people do it by themselves.
It's hard.
It's definitely a team sport. And so for that reason, I absolutely love it. Love doing it alongside of them, and love the impact that you can have on clients. When you have those aha moments of, I actually had one earlier today before we hopped on here, of talking through the possibility of selling their company a few years down the line, and just showing them, from front to back, how what they have to set up. Yeah, what they got to do and how the decisions they make impact the value of the company. And you could see the light bulb kind of clicking a little bit, and realizing that, it produces hope for them, that there's light at the end of the tunnel, that there's actually a direction and a vision that they're heading to that's practical and meaningful for their lives and their family. Those are the cool moments that make it worth it.
Do you think that's what drives you?
Absolutely. I mean, what drives me, I would say, would be, those moments. I mean, I have kind of a mission statement that I have from the Bible, comes from a passage in Jeremiah 33 that, God is talking to the nation of Israel in this passage, and he's talking about how he's going to make them from a wasteland to a place of rejoicing. And that's become a little bit of a mission statement for my family. Not a little bit. It is a mission statement for my family.
It's a tall order, Hunter.
To do that in everything that we do, whether it's, our friendships, whether it's with our children, with our clients, wherever we are, to take people from through that process.
Yeah. I like that. Not everybody has, people talk a lot. I've been an entrepreneur. I mean, I was the girl who sold the lemonade, on the
oh, nice.
I was one of those. Then I had a floral design. I went to floral design school, and I had freelance during college. And then, I've had multiple gyrations of businesses. So where do you think you get it from? Because, a lot of people, and you've probably had people say this to you at this point, is some people get envious. Like, oh, I wish I had my own business, and I wish I was an entrepreneur. And I wish, right? People do that. It's always, grass is always greener, right? There's a lot. You have to also make your own paycheck, right? You have to.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of responsibility. You got to do it good with it, especially when you have employees. Because when I think we had 25 employees at one point, and I'd walk in the morning and I'd see my bullpen of recruiters,
Yeah.
When I walk in the morning and I think to myself, man, I can't fail. I've got 25 households that I've got to provide for. I mean, that's how I looked at it. Like this is their livelihood. Like if we don't make it, we've affected 25 people here, not just myself. So like doing your own thing or striking on your own, I mean, it takes a certain persona or a certain mindset. Where'd you get it from? Like, where was your biggest influence? Like, what can you point to?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was not the one selling lemonade. It was not, like I said, I didn't sell anything till I was at Scale Factor.
Right.
That was the first time. Yeah. Outside, I think I did like a fundraiser at my dad's work once and sold some donuts or something.
You have a very trusting nature about you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You have a trusting face. You have a trusting feel about you. And that's what people want in accounting and finance people. They're the most trusted advisor. I mean, when I had my firm, people came to me for everything. I was their attorney. I was their counsel. I was their, right?
Yep.
Like they come to you for everything.
Yes.
If you Google it, I don't think people Google anymore, but if you chat it, you ask who's the most trusted advisor, they'll tell you their CPA. Like that's who they go to.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. And so you kind of exude that. So that's,
I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's just your persona, but it's probably you probably don't know it. It's probably very advantageous for you.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, where I get it from, I'd probably point to, probably to my dad. He wasn't necessarily an entrepreneur, but I would say he definitely had that mindset within the company he worked for.
What did he do? What did he do?
He worked.
What does he do?
Well, he's retired now. He worked at UPS.
Okay.
Started from, in college, loading the trucks.
Yeah.
To the point when he retired, he was, I want to say, like VP of international finance for all of UPSers. I don't know the exact position.
You went up the ranks.
So very, so
that
is entrepreneurial in itself.
Like lifetime. He was a lifer.
Exactly. Yep. So I would, I'd probably point to him and other, folks we have a, number of people in everything from ministry to, different careers in our family. And so I think it was just natural to, hey, let's try to be the best I can be, I think was just the mentality. And somehow that led to starting a business, not necessarily what I started out to do.
It doesn't always translate because there's risk, right? And so people look for certainty and there's risk in it. And so people, move towards, there's 6 human needs, right? And the paradox to the first human need is like certainty and variety. Like you want variety, but people want certainty. So people they want the variety to do it, but the certainty pulls them to the other direction because they want to know that they're getting a paycheck. They want to know what to expect. And that's always the hard part about running your own business is you've got to be able to pivot.
Yeah. I think I've also learned a ton from my wife, actually. She has always been entrepreneurial in her own way of from starting, she's done photography to different online things. And I think she really opened my eyes to there can be different courses in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, you be ambitious. Yes, you go do that, but you don't also have to fear that uncertainty that you were just referring to.
Yeah.
On the other side of, if you can overcome that fear, on the other side of it is potentially huge rewards if you do it well.
Yeah. And I think fear is always the villain in the story in life, it seems like, right?
Oh, yeah. No financial decision is made, no good financial decision is made out of fear. Most people
any decision is probably made out of fear.
Oh, no.
But we live in it. That's a state of survival. Fear is a state of survival. And we probably too many people spend it. I go in and out of it randomly all day long.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We probably all do as we make the decisions,
Yeah. I feel like a big thing I end up telling a lot of company owners right now is, there's so many things that you hear on, from the news, whatever, from ChatGPT, whoever. Just don't focus on any of it because none of it's going to lead you. None of it's going to lead you to a decision that is a good decision.
Yeah.
Focus on what you can control.
Yeah.
Most of the business owners that we are working with, they don't need to be worried about macroeconomics. They need to be worried about how do I consistently bring in revenue? How do I do so in a profitable manner to where there's still money in the bank?
Yeah.
And is it pointed somewhere? Is it headed somewhere over the years? That's what they need to worry about. And so
that's a good.
Don't worry
really
about
point.
all the noise. It's not what most
and there's
people
so
need
much
to
noise out there.
need to focus on.
Look at just on LinkedIn, the noise on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah. And who knows if most of it's even written by people at this point.
Well, the other thing too is that there's a lot of, as my son calls them, grifters. A lot of I call them There's a lot of liars out there. They say you're going to get these results, and they're false. I mean,
you can't really promise results. I mean, results come through joint effort.
There's this one career coach, unbelievable. And sometimes I look at their people's backgrounds, and I'm like, how are you coaching on this? You have no experience. They just hang a profile out there, get a bunch of followers, and then they start spewing content, and then people think they're an expert in the area, and I'm like, this is dangerous, right? This kid has over 1 million followers.
I bet.
Okay,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Do you know what his big line is on top? That he's such a good career coach that he can guarantee you that his averages or whatever are 40% increase in your salary. Wow. I've been in recruiting for 25 years. I can tell you the times I've seen it on my hand to get a 40% increase in salary.
Wow.
And I'm just like, you're lying. How could you make that promise to somebody? Maybe if you're making $20 an hour and I can get you to 28, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Look at the increment of it, right? But if you're making 100 grand, am I going to get you to, 140,000? Probably not. Probably not on the next roll. Unless you're grossly underpaid. But to make that that blanket statement,
it's pretty bold. Yeah.
That makes me mad. That upsets me because you're lying to people and you're giving false hope. And I don't know how you can even say that. Anyway, it's wild. So you're right. There's a lot of noise out there you have to be careful of, and things are changing fast. And I just read this article. So my son he's in the SAP team at Deloitte, and he's also on one of their AI, I don't know, projects, initiatives, or whatever. So we were talking about it last night. We've been typing over the last couple of days, and he's saying it's losing steam because he's with the big companies, right? These are the big boys, like Fortune 100. And he said, there was this push of worried about what everybody else was doing, worried they were going to get left behind. So they were throwing a bunch of money at it, and he goes, "I'm seeing it slow. I'm seeing it slow down." Yeah. I'm seeing the resources slow down. And I just on this article, actually late last night, I was reading, Mark Cuban was talking about it. And one of the things people are missing with this is AI can't give the information any business context. Where humans can switch on context in the moment. It's what we do when we problem solve. And it can't do that. And so what this article was saying is they were talking to these guys that are kind of in the thick of this, is that the amount of money and resources they've been throwing at it is not giving them the ROI.
Yep. No, I totally agree.
Yeah. And so what Cuban was saying, it was like, I can't see where it ever could give context in the same impact, right, that a human could do. And that kind of made me feel better.
I mean, it's Mark Cuban saying it. That makes me feel good, right?
Yeah, right. But because he doesn't usually say things just to be popular or anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it was really an interesting perspective because I hadn't thought about it from that. I mean, I hadn't thought about it from that lane before, even though I'm actually experiencing that all the time. Yeah. But people have to understand that is not going to solve that problem. That context has got to be there. So to your point, as we were saying, is that you can do a lot of automation with AI, but you need someone overseeing that context, understand the business context, because it's not going to tell you have to pivot.
I'll give you a perfect example. I had a client, they're trying to brainstorm some things. So they threw their financials in ChatGPT, asking questions, all this stuff. Okay. And they sent it over to me. Hey, what do you think about this? And
at least they sent it over.
Yeah, no, it was kind of like a brainstorming thing for them. And, I'm looking through what ChatGPT's saying. In a broad sense, technically everything they said was correct. Industry benchmarks, this, whatever, and a context sense. My response was, well, how does any of this have to do with your goals? If you want to take home this much to then be able to do that with, and you want to be able to spend less time in the business. And, there's just all these context things that it's like, yes, like maybe it produces a accurate outcome in terms of just like numbers, exactly what you're saying. It's missing all the context of what you say you want out of life and out of your business though. And so that's why you got to marry those two.
Right. And if you think about it, just maybe their own like personal goals of what they want, but you think of context from, actually running the business and understanding what is affecting that, it only is going to feed you what it can pull. I mean, it can't give you something it doesn't have.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So anyway, I think it's going to be really interesting how it's going to unfold. And I'm always like, how are they going to come up with the energy, man? How are they going to, we should be, if you want to invest some money, be looking at some data centers. I don't know how they're going to come up with the energy. I was reading an article about that too. And they're, talking about nuclear, bringing nuclear back, because nuclear is really the only way to solve the problem for the energy. And that brings a whole host of environmental things that people worry about, how nuclear kind of lost its luster many years ago. I mean, they were back in the 70s and 80s, it was really gained a lot of speed. Yeah. So they're already having power problems, and it takes an enormous amount of energy to run these LLMs. I mean, to run all this.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know either. No expert necessarily.
And the vehicles on top of it, right? Like, what's the practical part of that?
Yeah, I truly don't know, but what I do see right now is similar to what your son said at Deloitte. I mean, we talked to different AI consultants to, hey, what can we do with this?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
We ended up not actually hiring any of them because it just didn't feel like there was, outside of what is obvious on ChatGPT that you can do. Yep. It didn't seem like there was some secret sauce that us or anybody else at this time was going to be able to jump on, and then all of a sudden that's like the game changer.
Like help some efficiencies with you guys, just operationally and things like that.
Right. Outside of, again, just the obvious things that you can already do, but, using ChatGPT for the things we all know to use it for.
Yeah.
We didn't get a sense that there was going to be a big return on what we'd have to invest in the consultants to help us implement it, at least at this time. 5 years down the road, we'll see. Maybe it'll be a different story.
You just got to keep looking at it. I mean, that's all you can do. I think, what some people said, we're really at dial-up still. We're really, think about it, we're really on analog still. We're not there. It's not there, So tell me a little bit about, I know we're getting close to an hour here. Tell me a little bit about, how many people do you have on staff now? What's the employee?
So me and my two partners, three partners, and we have 14 full-time people working for us. We're about to hire one more. So probably by the time this comes out, we'll be at 15. So
how are you guys handling leadership? What kind of culture are you trying to bring? What are you doing with all that stuff?
Yeah,
and that's right now probably doing a lot of hiring through some of your network still. Again, normal.
Yep, doing it through the network. Our team is actually global. So we have people in Latin America and the Philippines.
Okay.
And then the States. And so, culture is more and more becoming part of the conversation of how do we unite each other? Even being so far away, how do we stay on the same page and all of that? And so, what we do is, especially for our team in the Philippines, that's where the bulk of them are. We have team offsites.
Using them for operational accounting then? In the Philippines?
Exactly. Exactly. So they're doing the day-to-day accounting.
Any reason you chose the Philippines over other parts of the?
It was just what we were familiar with. So that's what Scale Factor had done, and where we had the most connections. You
had some contacts, and makes sense.
Exactly. So that's why we chose the Philippines and why we jumped in there. But the biggest thing I find is, wherever people are, treat them like people. They got families, they got to take care of, they got goals similar to yours. And so, we do all the things that are recommended, from the employee reviews to regular quarterly company updates of, hey, here's where we're heading. Here's what we're excited about. Here's what you can expect, to all the little touches of, when a new contract is signed, having that go to Slack so everybody can celebrate it together and they can take part of the success.
Very nice. Sounds like you guys are on the...
We're really trying to build that team, the same team atmosphere we had at Scale Factor.
Yeah, I didn't know Scale Factor had this much effect on you.
Yeah, no, it was a blast of a place to work. It was,
but all
from the culture to the people.
You got resources from there, you got vendors from there, you got your partners from there. All the things that you learned in there. It's really interesting to see that. You certainly managed your career correctly. You got out what you needed with it. Hey, are you guys thinking about adding a tax arm to it or no?
It's always a conversation.
It's a lot of money in tax, my friend. You already got
It's
the
always a
client.
conversation. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, there's always the conversation of, hey, do we buy a tax firm and try to,
Yeah.
merge together?
Yeah.
It hasn't felt like the right time yet,
Yeah. Probably not.
but it's
Probably
always
not.
on the table. It's
Yeah,
always on
but
the
it's
table.
get all the current business. It's just easy. You
Oh,
just
yeah.
get it,
Oh, yeah.
And there's no
And there'd
conflict of
probably
interest.
be,
So
yeah, probably a lot of potential to cross-sell too.
Oh, exactly.
Our clients getting tax, their clients, maybe bookkeeping or CFO
if you bought a tax firm,
services.
if you bought a small tax
Yeah.
firm. Yeah, I've had those conversations over the years with people. I mean, they're getting gobbled up. The small ones have been getting gobbled up for a long time. There's a couple diehards out there, but they really have gotten gobbled up by the firms, the other big firms,
My theory would be you got to go big. Like if you're going to do something like that, like do a decent size one, make it worth it.
Yeah.
One that has the reputation already, and go for the home run if you're going to take the risk.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, thinking about the tax, I mean, it's a tough 4 months. There's no doubt about it. But I mean, you always have to file whether you're making money or not. You got to file. It is the revenue, and it's painful. It's painful to switch to a tax person. So unless you really screw up, you should have some really good retention, because it's a lot to switch. I mean, even if people are unhappy with their tax guy, it takes a lot to switch. So there's a lot of certainty in the business.
A lot of certainty. And I think there's a lot of ways to stand out from competitors in the business too. Yeah. And this is just accounting in general.
Yeah.
Not, I would say, widely known for the best customer service in the world.
Yeah.
Has been the general feedback that I hear.
Yeah.
From people switching to us and just in the tax world. And
is
so
the service
if you can stand out,
available or just people's demeanors?
Probably a bit of both is the truth, but I would say available would be the number one thing that I hear.
Change. I mean, not everyone's Mr. and Mrs. personality, but the service you should be giving. One of the things that happened to me when I had my firm is I got eaten up on my client. I was available too much. I mean, they wouldn't leave me alone. It was just a constant thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got so burnt out. I mean, it was like 7 days a week. Renee. And I was like, okay. And I was just too young. I just don't think I didn't put the boundaries correctly. I mean, if I had to start charging them for all the time that they spoke to me, it would have changed the tune, But I have a little bit more of that giving kind of way about me. Like I just want to give. And so you have to be careful that there's a balance with it. You know what I mean? Otherwise you're not getting paid for your time, and you need, it's still a business. You're going to get paid for your time, right? In the value you bring. So, well, our time is closing in. Is there anything that you wanted to add that we didn't chat about? I know we covered quite the gambit here, but
no, I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, we we're trying to get the message out that to get. For
sure. How do people find you, Hunter? Tell everybody how they find you.
Yeah, you can look me up on LinkedIn at Hunter Scott CPA, or shoot me an email at hunter@stratacloudaccountants.com.
Okay. All right. If you need some help, you need some accounting help, interim help, whatever you need, they can take care of you. So I really appreciate you coming on. It's a pleasure to meet you. We'll stay in touch for sure. And so another great session in the hiring room. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks
for joining me in the hiring room. If you like the podcast, please subscribe below and share this episode with someone you think that would benefit from it. We're always looking for good people to interview. So if you have a referral, comment below, or you can email me at renee@mseedinc.com. Thanks till next time.